Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Got a couple of things to talk about today. Sunday night, ABC ran a special, Bruce Springsteen, and they did an interview with him with George Stephanopoulos, and also went to Asbury Park and showed a lot of Asbury Park scenes, which, made me a little homesick because that's where, near where I grew up, and I spent many a day in Asbury Park and spent time at the Stone Pony. Yes, I did. But the reason why I talked about this is one of the things he addressed in this interview is the fact that he has become outspoken on politics. And there's no gray area. He's telling you who he's supporting. He released a video a couple weeks ago supporting the vice president for the presidency. And there are some people who've turned on him. I have some friends who have been fans of his since the 70s. We all grew up in New Jersey. They hate him now. He's terrible. And I'm like, does that change his music? No. But it led me to an observation. Does an artist's, and I'll use, actor, actress, musicians, political views change your opinion of them? Listen, it doesn't change his songs. I may disagree with his political opinion, but it doesn't change the music. The music reaches you on a level, and I have been supportive of Bruce Springsteen all these years. Now, just because we disagree in politics doesn't mean I am not going to talk to him. However, in these days and times, the political discourse is rather emotional. And I know some people who are not talking to other people because of politics. And I'm talking about family members. Really, is it really that big of a deal? It's just, I get it. Sometimes it's frustrating because they say things that are so blatantly untrue, but I let them have their opinion and I have my opinion. And again, you respect that. And I respect that, with artists. The one artist I'll talk about is, I've never been a huge Barbra Streisand fan because Barbra Streisand has been outspoken in her liberal her liberal views, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not a huge Barbra Streisand fan. So, in the early '90s, a buddy of mine's fiance asked me to go to the movies because he didn't want to go, and to see this movie with Barbra Streisand in it. And I was like, okay, I'll go. And I went in totally expecting to not like the movie. I'm just being a good friend, as the old saying goes. Well, the movie was Prince of Tides. Nick Nolte, Barbra Streisand, phenomenal. It is one of my favorite all-time movies. In fact, I thought Streisand should have gotten the Best Director Oscar because she did such a good job with that movie. And it was just wonderful. And I still point to it. As I say, it's one of my favorite all-time movies. And I didn't let Barbra Streisand's political views taint my thoughts on the movie. Tom Hanks, I don't agree with his political views, but yet I'll be first online to see a Tom Hanks movie because Tom Hanks is a great actor. I've always liked him. But again, there's a difference between your views and your skills. So I just don't get this. And people say, I hate Bruce Springsteen now. I don't like him, political views. It's like, it didn't change his music. His music is great. And the one thing also about the special, which is available on Hulu if you get a chance, The Rising. I think that is probably one of his best songs, behind Born to Run, of course. It goes without saying. But The Rising, written in the aftermath of 9/11, that whole album is just phenomenal. But Bruce has had some great music over the years. Girls in the Summer Clothes, brings up the boardwalk where I grew. I spent a lot of time in Seaside. There's so many great songs that he does, and I'm not going to separate. I hate Bruce Springsteen because I've attended so many Bruce Springsteen concerts in my life. Speaking of growing up in New Jersey, when you were young, you probably got a Hess tanker truck, which was sold at Christmas time by the gas stations owned by the Hess Oil Company. They started this in 1964. And Hess Oil, Leon Hess owned the New York Jets. Hess Oil was around the New York, New Jersey area, and every year they would sell this tanker truck. They got the idea started in 1964. I got an email the other day. The 60th anniversary Hess truck is coming out. And actually, it's a fire engine this year with a couple of cars along with it. But it brought back some memories because my father-in-law had a collection. And to my knowledge, has every Hess truck there is. And that collection, I think, has gone to his grandson. But every year we would get them. So he would get one for me one year. I took the mantle of getting them for him. So I would get up Thanksgiving and get online. And I remember waiting 4 hours to get a Hess truck. An Hess truck, I think at the time was like $13, $14. I mean, that's what it was. But you didn't get them, they'd sell out. And it was tough to get them. And, this is in the day before the internet and that type of thing. But every year, Thanksgiving, people would be lined up at Hess stations to get this Hess truck. They would go on sale. They'd say, hey, we're going on sale such and such time. So I was so happy the year they announced we're going to start selling them the Monday before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, yeah. And I happened to work overnight that night. And so I get off the bus and I get in my car. I drive right to a Hess station and buy 2 Hess trucks. I should also mention that the first big fight that my then fiance and soon to be wife, ex-wife now, had, and we were undergoing counseling, our premarital counseling, was over the fact she didn't get me a Hess truck on Thanksgiving like I asked her to because I was stuck in the city. And it was one of those things that it was kind of a stupid argument. But the pastor who married us every year would say to me, hey, did you get your Hess truck? Because she always remembered that argument. Even after we're divorced, she still would say, and I'd say, I'm keeping the faith. Got the Hess truck. Yeah, we're all there. So now I haven't gotten them the last couple of years because I've been down in Georgia, but I think I will get the 60th anniversary one and add it to the 2 big moving boxes of Hess trucks that I have sitting out in the garage. Yeah, I'm a pack rat. I'm one of those collector guys. Someday, I suppose maybe I'll let them go. But right now, I'm still keeping the faith with the Hess truck, and that one's for Ray, who was my ex-wife's father. Good man, definitely a good man. Last but not least, I want to talk about positivity. One of the things that has been, these days and times, we have a lot of negativity. You see it on Facebook and on social media. And earlier this year, somebody challenged, I forget what it was, a Facebook post, I think, to be positive. So every day I try to post a positive message of some type on Facebook just to be positive. Because you never know who that's going to hit and who is going to get a smile and whose days might be brightened just by this positivity. And I kind of extend that because I've always been kind of a positive person. I always try to smile, say hi. When I was working in retail, I felt it was really important for me to be very pleasant with people. Now, some of them were nasty and some of them would yell and I would yell back. Yeah. But you try to be positive because you never know on the other side, they could be having a really rough day. And that moment of positivity could mean the world to you. And I say this because, well, I am, as I've mentioned, 65, and I'm of the age where I have to go to the pharmacy more often than I want to because we need medicines. And over the past couple of years, I've become friendly with 2 pharmacists. One of them more so than the other. One of them is a good buddy, Chad, who is the pharmacist. And it was funny because I'd go there to pick up my fiance's prescriptions, and I transferred mine over there. And I was like, this is great. So he'd come over, and he always knew when I'd come over. And the funny part of it was, for the longest time, he did not realize, my name Tripp. He knew me for my real name. And he never realized, like, oh, wow. And he didn't know I was on the radio either. So it was so funny, but he's a great guy. We talk sports all the time, and I always look forward to it, and that makes my day. Even though, the day may be awful, still have a great interaction with somebody. And again, I appreciate that with him. And now I've had to change pharmacies. And I had a rough start with my new pharmacy. It's a big box pharmacy. I'm not going to say who. But the pharmacist and the person, the pharmacy manager, went out of her way to smile every time I see her, stop what she's doing, say hi, how you doing? And, that means the world to me. She's a wonderful person. Recently, she lost her husband's mother, her mother-in-law. But again, her mother-in-law's her husband's grandmother. Let me get that right. But still, we talked about it, but she smiles, and I know my day is going to be okay. And I try to do that to other people because you never know. And she doesn't have to do that. She can be buried in her work. She doesn't have to care who this guy is who comes up there, but she does, and she goes out of her way. That's what we need to do. That's the message of positivity. And you talk about a smile that makes my day. There are two smiles that make my day, always have, always will when I get them. One is my daughter, and I think back to those days when she was a baby, and all she would do was smile because Daddy was there. And that smile melted my heart. And the other is my fiance, Sandy. I don't get to see her as often as I'd like to, but there are some mornings that I can't sleep and I wake up while she's getting ready for work because she gets up very early. But when I get to see that smile before she goes to work, it just makes my day better. Even though I'm up earlier than I need to be, it's still great to see that smile. And that smile gets me through sometimes some very tough days. And that is Tripp's Take for October the 24th, 2024. Love to hear your comments and questions about my podcast. Please feel free to email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, we're in the heart of the fantasy football season. Hall of Famer Mike Scheck and I give you the Fantasy Sultans podcast. We're going to sit there and we're going to get you through. Also, the Fantasy Sultans are on the radio Sundays with the Sultans at 12 noon. You can catch us on various radio stations in the Central Jersey and the Jersey Shore area in New Jersey. Also, foxsportsnewjersey.com. You can catch it online 12 noon Eastern time on Sundays. And we're on TikTok. Just search for the Fantasy Sultans. If you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, make sure you tune in to WTRSradio.com. I thank you for joining me for this podcast and hope you will make plans to join me again next week. For now, Tripp Rogers. Make it a great one.